by talking about the Carolina Panthers and the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this game is in LA. Looking like Justin Herbert is going to play this week after Tyrod Taylor found out that he had his lung punctured by the doctor. That was sketchy stuff, but hopefully Tyrod Taylor is healing up okay. But Justin Herbert looked pretty good against the Chiefs on Sunday. I mean, they almost won that game and took the Chiefs to overtime. Absolutely phenomenal rookie performance for Justin Herbert there. And then Carolina Panthers, obviously losing Christian McCaffrey is going to change the complexity and the way that this offense runs. So let's talk about it. Over under 43.5, one of the lower over unders on the week, which again, it makes sense. We're expecting the Chargers to, have a pretty good defense in this one, and Panthers defense hasn't been that great. Chargers are slated to win this one by 6.5. And, as we've noted, Panthers are the worst team against the running backs, have been for a while, still are. But they've actually been pretty decent at slowing down quarterbacks and receivers. We saw Mike Evans had a pretty good game last week, but other than that, haven't been many fantasy performances, either the quarterback or the wide receiver position against the Panthers, nor at the tight end. So I don't know whether that's just the nature of the two games that they played up to this point, or that their defense is slightly better than we've anticipated, or that they just give so much up to the run that the other team doesn't need to pass. We'll see. We only have 2 data points, whereas we know the Chargers are pretty good at stopping the run, stopping the pass, although they've given up a good quarterback performance to Patrick Mahomes. They were pretty good at slowing down Joe Burrow in his opening game. So Chargers, one of the better defenses on the slate. Now, in terms of who we're starting, I think DJ Moore is pretty much a locked and loaded starter here, and probably Robby Anderson at this point is too. We saw last week, even in a tough matchup, DJ Moore got a ton of garbage time points, still hasn't gotten to the end zone, but has top 5 targets in the league at the wide receiver position, whereas Robby Anderson also getting a lot of looks in this offense. And with Christian McCaffrey going down, there's absolutely no way that these guys don't continue to see that target share, if not a higher target share. So I love both DJ Moore and Anderson in this one, even against a tough Chargers matchup. Teddy Bridgewater is probably someone that you're going to try to avoid putting in your lineup this week. I could definitely see a weird reality where he ends up performing better than expected, but I'm not going to risk that. Now, Mike Davis is the interesting guy to talk about here, because we know the Chargers are really good at stopping the run. Only way Mike Davis returns value for you if you're starting him is if he gets a lot of receiving work, which we saw last week. He got a lot of garbage time dump-offs. I don't know that will be the game plan going in. Curtis Samuel will probably play some snaps at running back as well. Reggie Bonifant most likely going to be called up from the practice squad over the weekend, so that way they have another running back there. And then Ian Thomas hasn't really done much of anything. But back to Mike Davis. If you got Mike Davis after picking up Christian McCaffrey, you're probably in the position where you have to start him. I definitely don't hate it, especially in a PPR league, but it's not something I'm going out of my way to do. So if you had depth at the running back position and you're thinking, oh, this is a great, play with Christian McCaffrey out, you might want to wait a week. This isn't the matchup that you want to rush out and throw Mike Davis into your lineup. Not playing Bonifant either, and this is assuming he gets caught up from the practice squad. In the Panthers defense, even if they've been okay against the quarterback and receiver, they're not a fantasy defense that we're ever really going to look to start. Now, on the Chargers side, I feel like this is pretty easy, especially now that we are assuming Justin Herbert plays. Austin Ekeler and Josh Kelley look like they're playing the Ekeler-Gordon type style that we had last year, where both of these guys were very productive for fantasy. They don't have Phillip Rivers, so they're not getting the same target share, but Herbert was definitely able to keep them involved a bit more than Tyrod Taylor was. Keenan Allen looked to be Herbert's favorite target, so RIP Mike Williams, sorry. And then Hunter Henry, there's just any tight end that's going to get a decent target share is someone that's worth looking at. Chargers defense are probably a pretty decent play here as well. We saw Teddy Bridgewater make a few big mistakes last week that gave the Buccaneers a lot of fantasy points on defense. As we mentioned, Mike Williams, with Herbert not forcing the issue, Mike Williams is definitely more of the deep ball guy. He's probably Herbert's probably going to stick with Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry and Austin Ekeler for most of his passing work. So I'm really not that excited about Mike Williams until we start seeing them develop some more rapport. And while I think Herbert might be a decent play this week, probably not someone I'm going to be going out and throwing into my starting lineup. Now, all that being said, I know the Chargers have the tendency to lose games like this, and I think the Panthers are still a bit better than people are giving them credit for. So I expect this to be a lower scoring game. should be enough fantasy volume for the guys that we mentioned. But overall, I think the Panthers can actually surprise in this one. I'm not going to put any decent amount of money on this one, but I've learned over the years, when it looks like the Chargers are going to win, no matter what, they find a way to lose it. And I'm going to call my shot and take the Panthers getting their first victory against the Chargers in week 3. Panthers 17, Chargers 14.